Hello and welcome. This is another sketchbook tour. I recently showed you this sketchbook, which is a Clairefontaine craft paper sketchbook, and it shows basically much of the same material. These are neocolors and a bit of pencils, and I thought it would be a nice idea to show you a sketchbook that, well, where I explore different materials and mix them and experiment a bit. So this sketchbook I have decorated with my own fabric, which I love a lot. And this other sketchbook, this is a Royal Talents one. As you can see, it is decorated differently with a sticker and some silver paper, and my 6-year-old did this for me, so I decided to keep it this way because it's, well, I think it's really sweet. So it's just, it shows you that you can well, basically I think it might show my love for material, so I thought it was fitting. So I'll show you what's inside. It's an art, a Royal Talents art creation sketchbook, and the paper is a bit cream colored, and it's really cheap. So because it's a very cheap sketchbook, it allows you to experiment with all kinds of different materials, and that's what makes it really, really great. So I also use the pages to test out some materials. These are distressed crayons, just seeing what kind of colors they are. This is the number 10 set and the number 7 set. And this is where the experiment begins. Yeah, I really love paper cut and collaging and all these kinds of things. It does take up a lot of your time, so I don't do it as often as I would want to do it, and I would want to incorporate it more in my work. I was inspired by a few different collage paper artists, and they did like this mirroring thing. So I decided I can do that maybe, and I just drew something on paper, I folded it together, and then I cut this out, and I think the result is pretty nice. This is just craft paper, so it's not doesn't have the golden shiny quality of the left side, but yeah, still I think it's a nice result, and I might explore this some more. The background is just some paint, and this is I think it's a tempera paint stick, like a kid's stick, which is really quick. You can apply the paint really quickly, and in that way you can work quickly in your sketchbook, which is something I like as well, because I have a 6-year-old, and yeah, time is well, I don't have a lot of it, so yeah. Whenever I can minimize the time that something consumes, I really like to do it. This is also a paper cut, something I drew. It was for something else, but then I didn't get to use it, and then I stuck it on this page, and I like the difference between like the really busy page here and the more empty, quiet page on this side. These are some flowers that are common in my area in February, and I drew these with some Tombow pens, or these brush pens and pencil. And this is a process I really enjoy. It's something that I feel like, as the Dutch would say, I have it in my fingers. So it's something I'm comfortable with. I know it. I can, yeah. It's not as much as an experiment, but it is a relaxing thing to do. So that's what I did here, and I like the result. This is a page where I showed my patrons how I draw. This is a Eurasian jay, and I actually did another one that I like that one better actually. And then I showed my patrons how I drew the other one. But yeah, it's okay. It's not the best, but it's okay. The technique is nice. It's much different from this page, so but still has a sort of similar effect. And these are the materials, the colors I used for this particular drawing. Another paper cut, which I also really like. I hope to do some more. Yeah, it takes up a lot of time. The mirrored effect is really nice, but it's still like abundant, and that's what I really like about it. Some swatches. I also use my sketchbook to see what kind of color combinations are good and which ones I like and which one I don't. Really like this one. Some drawings, just also seasonal flowers in March. And I thought it would be fun to draw them all in a different color, which I think is a nice way to fill your page and to keep it interesting without having to do like a lot. Like this page, for instance, that took me quite some time because there are many layers, and this one is just one pencil. But because I used different colors, it still gives me some interest. This is a sketchbook page that I made a YouTube video of. You can watch it if you like. I just wanted to be loose and free and just create without having to think a lot. And yeah, I think it turned out pretty okay. And also doing the reverse thing. Usually I start with lines, but now I started with shapes and then added the lines, which is a nice yeah, that's nice for a change. This is from a sketch session that I did with my patrons. As you can see, it's 5 minutes, so these are pretty basic drawings. So every drawing was 5 minutes, and it's just to loosen up to see how well you can get an image onto paper. Can you do it without looking on your paper? Can you use only limited colors? All these things. This one is also from that session. I think we did a continuous line exercise here. This one I did later and just added because I thought it needed some more lines, and yeah, just felt like scribbling a bit. This is also from the same session, but 15 minutes. But because I had to feel like, or at least I gave myself the, I made myself fill the whole page. And if I would have only done the wild boar, then it might have been much more detailed. But now I wanted to do the whole scene. So this is 15 minutes. And I usually take a lot more time for my drawings because they are usually a lot more detailed. These are also, I think, 10 minutes each. This one is a bit weird. I tried to avoid using lines, which is, using lines is my go-to thing. I really love scribbling and drawing, and yeah, I just love to use pencil. So this one is a bit flat, I think. But I like the hair. That one is nice. Same goes for these. I did these backgrounds beforehand, so I had prepped them and they were dry before the session started, and then I drew the rest on top during the session. I really like the way I did this frog because I didn't use a line here, but I used like the negative space to accentuate the shape. These are also, if you can see, they are paper cuts as well. I did a video for my patrons on the Golden Age, and I created an artwork that had all kinds of flowers and also some animals inspired by the Golden Age, the Dutch paintings of the Golden Age, and I used paper cuts for it, and I was really happy with the result. But I didn't stick them together, I didn't glue them to the paper yet. And then my partner, who I love him to bits, but he decided to vacuum my studio, and then it was on the floor, and then he knocked everything over. So I decided to make lemonade and create a new sketchbook page from the elements that I had. And this one actually is also from that same artwork. You'll find more of them in the sketchbook, but it's also great to see if you can actually, it was a really nice exercise to see if I can make new compositions with the same elements. So yeah, it's not bad actually. These ones were in the same bouquet as well, and some palette testing. This is a bit, I don't really like this page, but I do like this. This was inspired by a sketchbook page I saw Sophie McPike. She showed that on her YouTube, and she basically had made like a paper covered with paint and then did the paper cut, like a silhouette. And I really liked that idea because it sort of followed up on the paper cuts I did previously. So yeah, that was really nice actually, and I might do some more but make it more my own. This is like the same exercise that Sophie did, but I want to make it more my own. This is from Emma Maljauka. I'm so sorry if I don't pronounce your name correctly, but she has a Patreon as well, and she had some lovely trees which I decided to draw. She had some lovely pictures of trees. Didn't have a lot of time, so yeah, I wanted to work on this a bit more, but life got in the way. This page is a really quick one as well, and it's done with a rainbow pencil, which is a kid's pencil, I think, but it's really nice. It has different colors in one pencil, and you have different kinds, like thick ones, thin ones, and I think this one is this particular one, and it's just fun to draw with, that's all. And this is a bit of a strange page. I did these backgrounds and let them dry because I wanted to use them as like an underlayer to see how and if they would shine through. And I started with this one, which is, I think it works pretty well. But then the orange one was like really daunting, and I just moved on in my sketchbook, and I just never dared to do something on top of it. And I don't know why, because I think orange is a color that would probably shine through other colors and makes your artworks come alive. So I might just have to get over it and and force myself to do it sometimes. But I stuck some a pressed leaf on it to sort of fill the page. Yeah, I really don't like orange, so that's maybe what made me procrastinate. This is a very weird looking dude. It's a squirrel, if you can't recognize it. It's like really, I don't know what happened. It feels like it got compressed or something. So I'm not really into this one. I am more into this one, which is another one of the Sophie McPike inspired silhouettes. And well, I try to, whenever I do something, this is by the way done with art graph, I try to keep my sketchbook pages and not work over them. Sometimes I do, because if I really hate the page, then yeah, then I work over them. But you know, if things don't work out, you still can learn from them. So this just wasn't that well observed, but I do like the shadows and like the textures, especially the ones here that the art graph made. So yeah, I'm just going to keep it. We'll see. Same goes for this one, because this is a very creepy cat. It is. This was an Emma Carlisle Fast Felines and Fruits, it says, session. And well, apparently I drew this cat really quickly, and I'm not sure what happened with the face, but it feels like it has like a sort of human face or something. Didn't go well. So I'm keeping it like this and just moving on. And I wanted to draw some other cats here, but then I don't know, this one stared at me so yeah, it stared at me, telling me not to draw any more cats. So I didn't, and I stuck some pressed ferns and some pressed fuchsias on there, and I think that's okay. Doodles, just some doodles, things I made up, and that's just something to relax, basically, and some more color palettes. This is a page that I really like because it is a color combination that I never use. So I'm really happy that I made this page, but I also wonder if I'm ever going to finish it. I started with this beetle and I wanted to do all kinds of beetles, but then this beetle didn't really turn out well. So then I thought maybe I'd mix it up and do like some patchwork quilt inspired squares. Then I still didn't do anything about it, and then I stuck these pressed leaves on them and it looks a lot better, but I feel like it needs another beetle here and maybe something else. I don't know, maybe like a leaf that I've drawn myself here, but somehow I'm not sure if I'm ever going to finish it. But I do really like this color palette because I never use this color palette, and yeah. So even if you don't like your page, or if you don't like lots, I mean, for instance, the way I used really big brush prints for this, that's just not my thing. I need to work detailed because that's what I like. But so I don't like the fact that this is not as precise as I would have wanted it to be, but I do really like the color, so it's worth keeping it. This was a page I also did with my patrons. We drew animals from the Natural History Museum in the Netherlands. I used a dip pen, and I really liked this one. And for some reason, I really didn't like this one. And then after the session, I decided I needed to rub it out and draw a new face on it, and then I never did. But I really do like the lines I made on this one. It's really, yeah, I like the diversity of lines. Has a cute face. Toucan from the same session. A pelican from the same session. And I used only ink, so that's ink and a dip pen. And here I used a brush just to see what kind of marks I could make. This is a page that I created and made a video for YouTube, so you can watch that if you want. It's basically prepping a page with a color, and I made a rainbow color because that makes it a bit more interesting, I think. And then I did all the line work and the black on top with fine liners. This is also one of the flowers from the bouquet of the Golden Age. I think this is a nice page. The busyness here and the empty space, negative space here, they work well together. These are otters from Emma Carlisle's session. I'm not sure if they really look like otters. This is probably, it's a short amount of time as well, probably like 15 or 20 minutes, I'm not sure. This is ink as well. This is the vase from the artwork I was talking about. a flower from another session, some really quick otters from the session from Emma Carlisle. And as you can see, the quicker I draw, the less they look like an otter. But to draw really quickly is really good, because then you have to make decisions quickly and you don't second guess yourself as much. So it's really good to do quick sessions. I think this one was 10 minutes. Not really sure. So you can do a lot actually in 10 minutes, although you don't think you can. But if you set a timer and then just get to work, then you can actually accomplish a lot. More paper cuts from the... So actually from making that one artwork, I have now made like 5 sketchbook pages. So yeah. Some pressed flowers that were in season. I just dried them in the book. And a squirrel. Some other doodling I did. Colors I tested. These are acrylics. These are 3 ways to draw nests, which is also a video you can watch here on YouTube. And I just use different materials, different techniques to create. Well, you know, it's the same shape. It's like an oval shape and like squiggly lines, but you can achieve it in different ways. So if you want to do that, then be sure to check that video. Then I did a Patreon session where we drew nests and other things. This is 5 minutes, and I was testing pastel pencils. I really don't like pastel, so I was trying to force myself to see if I can do something with them to maybe like them more. I haven't worked with them since, but they do have so nice, pastel has so many nice qualities, like the softness, like that, the fact that it doesn't have crisp lines. So I actually do want to do more with it, but I don't like the mess that it makes. So, and these are really quick as well, like 15 minutes, it says 10 minutes. These are very, very quick. These are blind drawings without looking on the paper. And this is just something I did when I also teach live. So in my town, there is a greenhouse, a very, very nice greenhouse, and I teach drawing lessons there. So this was an exercise we were doing. And this is the same. This is 3 minutes of drawing. So actually in 3 minutes, you can also achieve a lot. This is just ugly doodling while being on the phone with someone. Another session we did, I think. This was Camouflage, probably. I'm not sure. I really like this page. I really don't like this page, and I really do like this page. I like the fact that I just used the page where I tried out some materials and then drew on top of it, which makes it much looser and much less expected than anything else. I did the same here, but then the results were less great. There's just no contrast, and yeah, I really don't like this one. Testing out materials as well. Distress watercolors, distress crayons. This is from Camouflage session. I used distress ink and I prepped the page with that, thinking like, okay, I'm going to make just like a camouflage page and then see if I can draw something on top of it. In this case, it was a chameleon. And I really do like the effect, something that I would never do actually, because I usually, well, if you compare it to this work, which is something that I usually do, this is much looser and much more unpredictable, I think. But yeah, it makes you see new perspective and think of new ways to draw. So this was a very good exercise for me. This is also from an Emma Carlisle session where we drew vintage stamps. I drew them on craft paper and then glued them in my sketchbook. It was a really lovely session. I used Neo colors, I think, and some pencil for this. a 15-minute drawing of, it's not a fox, but something else, like a martyr, or at least we would call it, it's called a martyr in Dutch. I'm not sure what it is called in English. But also used like some materials in the background and then drew on top of it, which makes it look more fun, basically. This was a page that I drew something here, and then there goes my table. I drew something and I really didn't like it, and then I just put on lots and lots of paint and it wouldn't dry, so I closed it and then the paint stuck together. So I didn't know what to do with this page, but then Katie Moody and Beth Spencer had an owl session, and I did this owl on brown paper. I think it's a paper cut as well, and yeah, now I really like the page, actually. So even if you don't like something, you can make it into something you do like, which is yeah, it's great to have options. And I think art is always evolving. You never have to stop. You can always derive something from an artwork and move into the next one, and yeah, play around. And I think, yeah, this is a page I haven't drawn on yet. I think this is it. So this is my sketchbook so far, and thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. Or if you have any tips for any good sketchbooks that I don't know of, because I also would like to test some new papers, some new sketchbooks. I would really like that. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.